anymore now at live shows, there tends to be a huge need to have several different amplifiers, speaker cabinets, and a ton of different effects at our fingertips. And we have to find a way to get all of those different things and make it portable and compact. And honestly, just lugging around a metric ton of gear is not really realistic. And that is where multi-effect processors come in. And these multi-effect processors and amp modelers have gotten so freaking good lately. They're not quite where tube amplifiers are on tone. And personally, I don't think they're gonna be absolutely perfect, but they are definitely getting very close. They have made leaps and bounds, especially compared to that old Digitech that I used to mess around with when I was a little kid. But the truth is that we live in a world of multi-effect processors, amp profilers, amp modelers for the live show, and they are doing a great job. They allow us to get all those amps, speaker cabinets, and multiple different effects all into one small compact unit. And we have covered a ton of these different units on the channel here, and each one that comes through, I'm honestly blown away by them. They sound really freaking good. And the people over at Joyo have sent me over what I would say is the best multi-effects processor and amp modeler that I have checked out on this channel to date. This is the Gembox K8. Everything that you will ever need for your live shows is in this small compact unit. Let's get into it. In the Gembox K8, you can expect to see every feature that you would see in any other effects processor like this. There are 400 different preset slots with a ton of empty ones that you can put in your own presets, or you can just override the older presets that are already on this guy. There are over 160 amp and effect models, a ton of different speaker cabinet IRs with a lot of different spots that you can put in your own third-party IRs. There's a looper, a tuner, an expression pedal, volume pedal, an extension for another expression pedal. There's all kinds of stuff going on inside this small little box. There are a couple of different features that I just really appreciate Joyo putting into the Gembox K8. One of them being the XLR outs on the back. That way you can keep down on the noise when you're playing or recording versus that of a TRS out. There's also a 5-inch LCD screen, which is a touch screen, and it just makes things really easy while motivating the interface and moving things around. You can run a 4-cable method with the Gembox into an existing amplifier just to add on to that amplifier, which is really freaking cool. You can also use this as an interface for recording, and there's an effects loop on the back as well. And then it comes down to the durability of the Gembox K8. This whole thing is made of metal. It feels like it can withstand anything in the shuffle in between shows. And this is something that doesn't necessarily affect the overall tone or sound of the Gembox K8, but it's something that I find really freaking cool. The overall aesthetic of this multi-effects processor, I think, is spot on. Joyo did a great job designing this unit. It looks so freaking cool. And I really like the RGB strip that goes through the middle of it. And for my gamers out there, yes, you can program it to whatever color you want. You can even make it go rainbow, and it looks freaking awesome. Really quick, before we get even further into this video, I just want to let you guys know that yes, Joyo did send me out the Gembox K8, and they wanted me to show you guys some of the tones and features from this guy. But do keep in mind, any thoughts or opinions are my own. Joyo does not get to see the video before I post it or add any editing notes or anything like that. Any opinion that you hear in this video is mine and mine alone. But let's go ahead and hook in the Gembox K8, and let's take a look at a few of the different sounds and tones that we can get with it. And I'm gonna load in the software for this unit that you can get on Joyo's website, and let's get into it. All right, so for showing you guys the Gembox K8 and some of the different sounds that come with it, I figured it would just be easier to bring you into the software. So this is the software for the Gembox here, and you'll notice it looks a lot like any other software for any other multi-effects processor. We've covered a lot here on the channel, to be honest. And for the guitar that I'm using today, this is my 7-string custom archetype from Balaguer Guitars. It has a set of Tureno buckers in it, which are some passive high output pickups. And I just wanted to bring this on here because it's in drop F sharp, and I wanted to see how well this multi-effects processor handles that lower tuning. And if you guys are interested in checking out more about this guitar, I will have a link on the top of the screen for my last video where I did an unboxing and first impressions of this. Over the past few days, I've been messing around a little bit with the Gembox here, and I stumbled across a triple rectifier model, and I went ahead and just built out a tone how I would usually build out a tone. So I have my noise gate right here. I have my overdrive, which is basically my tube screamer. It's my boost pedal. I have my amplifier, and then I have my cab, and I did put an EQ pedal on here just in case anything in the mids got a little weird or anything like that. So let's go ahead and check out the triple rectifiers model here and see what it sounds like with the archetype. Yeah, that definitely sounds really good, and if I'm being completely honest, this is definitely one of the better sounding multi-effects processors that I've had the pleasure of checking out recently. This is definitely in the top 5 for sure. So if you come over here, you'll look at your whole list of different amplifiers, and you can look at the names of them, and just like any other multi-effects processor, they'll have very similar names to some amplifiers that you might be familiar with. So yeah, we have the Zzounds, which it's missing one letter. It's pretty similar to that, but you guys can kind of find exactly what you are looking for. And with the triple rec that I have here, I also did another preset that I'll bring you guys to, which is essentially a 5150. So this is this preset that I have. Yeah, that one is definitely sounding a little bit more gritty than the triple rec was sounding, but it definitely sounds really nice. And I will say the multi-effects processor, in my opinion, is handling this lower tuned guitar really, really well. And I actually really like the layout of this whole software here, and the layout is extremely similar on the touch screen that we have on the Gembox here. Everything just looks really nice. Like aesthetically, it's very, very pleasing, and you can grab whatever, you can drag them around, you can kind of place them in different areas, which I find really, really nice. So you can turn them on, turn them off. You don't have to have everything on, but let's check out a few of the different cabs that we have as well. So let's check out the Zzounds 4x12. Let's see what that sounds like. So it definitely sounds quite a bit thinner than the other cab that I had on this, but it also has a little bit of a darkness in there. Let's see what else we have going on here. Let's try out one of the diesel ones. Let's do the 4x12A and see what we got going on. And then let's check out the B. Let's see how different the A and the B is. Out of both of those diesel cabs, I would say the second one, B, is probably my favorite. It's a little bit more exciting, and I feel that it has just a little bit more body in there. If you go even further down the list of different IRs, you run into this area where you have all of these empty impulse response spots. And this is where you can load in your own impulse responses. I'm gonna go ahead and load up some of mine, and let's see what we got going on. Yeah, that definitely sounds really nice. And these cases with the multi-effects processors, a lot of them will have the option to add your own third-party IRs on there, and most times out of not, I always recommend it. This is one of the down-tuned IRs from Bogren Digital. It is the Bogren Balance. It's out of the down-tuned guitars impulse response pack. So I will have a link for just about everything I talk about here in this video down in the description below. But those are some great IRs for you to check out. Yeah, really, really nice. So we've checked out a lot of the high gain tones here. Let's go ahead and see if we can create maybe a nice, pristine, clean tone. So I'm gonna go onto one of the empty slots right here, and let's check out the different amplifiers that we have here. Yeah, this amplifier is going to do just fine. This is the US 59 BSM, and I went ahead and I matched up the US BSM 4x10 cabinet on this guy, and I have my guitar in the middle position on the pickups with the coils split on the tone knob. It's just a really, really nice tone overall. So on my clean tones, you guys will notice that this amplifier is actually very, very quiet. Let's add a compressor in front of it, and that's something that I like to do on a lot of my clean tones. So it looks like the Gembox software is way ahead of me on it. It has the S3 compressor already here. You can go in here and check out all the different effects that you want, but let's see, what does this guy do? All right, it's sounding really, really nice. Yes, you can definitely hear a little bit of breakup from the pickups that I have going into the Gembox here. The Terreno Buckers are still high output pickups, so you're gonna hear maybe a little bit of breakup, especially if I pick fairly hard into it. But let's make it a little bit more spacious. Let's add like a reverb in here. Let's see what we have going on. There's a spring reverb. I want to do maybe a Hall reverb. Let's see what this is going to sound like. Okay, so it's not too powerful. I'm going to raise the level on that reverb and see if we can really get it to like shine out there. Okay, very subtle on that hall reverb. Let's see, we have a church. We can definitely try the church for sure. That's a little bit better for sure. I'm gonna raise that level quite a bit. That is sounding much better. Yeah, that is definitely sounding very nice. I really like the church reverb on this. This sounds really, really cool. Of course, we have a spot for delay, modulation, EQ, effects return, and effects send. So you can really do a ton with the Gembox. This is really, really cool. But I know we are definitely a high gain channel over here. So let's switch it on over back to one of my presets. I'm gonna go to the triple rec preset, and let's do a little bit of lead work and see how it sounds with some lead stuff. So I'm going to definitely put on some sort of delay here. We have an analog delay. Let's see what this guy sounds like. Okay, so that's definitely a little bit faster, a little bit more slapback type, but I'm gonna raise the timing on that. Let's raise the feedback as well. You guys can tell from the knobs that I'm clicking on here, they're extremely, extremely sensitive. So let's see what this does here. Yeah, that is a lot of fun. I love messing around with a bunch of different delays and just seeing how they react to the lead parts that I play. You can do a really heavy delay, kind of like this one. This one's a little bit more heavy, or you can do something a little bit more slapbacky, something a little bit more subtle, but I kind of like the heavier delays, and then you can go ahead and put in a reverb on top of it, and I'm going to raise the level of this reverb. And let's see what kind of magic happens on this. Yeah, very, very nice. I'll tell you what, the echo and the spacious kind of effects that you add onto your lead parts, that's really what makes them, in my opinion. That is definitely what makes them, for sure. You can get the right amount of distortion, and you can push it really hard, and maybe a little bit of EQ, maybe switching up the pickup position, but I really like a good echo on my lead parts. That is absolutely sick. Honestly, I think that Joyo did an excellent job on the Gembox K8. You can definitely tell that they put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it. It sounds awesome. A lot of multi-effect processors have the tendency to sound a little bit too cold or a little bit too dark, and the Gembox K8 definitely has some warmth in it and some body in its different tones. I would absolutely recommend this to just about any gigging guitarist out there. If you guys are interested in checking out the Gembox K8 from Joyo, I will have a link for that and everything else that I mentioned in this video down in the description. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below along with that. And if you are enjoying my video in any way, shape, or form, please consider hitting that subscribe button and that like button, as it helps me out a ton here on the channel. With that being said, my name is Chris with High Impact Audio, and I will see you guys next time.